Tito, man, back with another one. It's raining, it's fucked up outside, so I don't know if I'm gonna be on here too long. You know, it's been storming the last couple days down here in Georgia, but anyway, we're gonna make this one a quick one, man. Today video about the modern woman, man. Modern black woman for sure. And how she fell from grace. You know, if you a fella and you single and you out here and you just been on your shit, you know, being healthy, you know what I'm saying, getting to, you know, the bag and, you know, just locking in with yourself, then, you know, today's modern woman, black woman for sure, ain't holding the crumb to the woman, you know, of old. You know, and not saying, you know, they gotta be old women or nothing like that, but women of yesteryear and shit like that. Women of, you know, how women used to be, you know, in the past. You know, now all these women is, you know, they're pretty much programmed, or, you know, you could say brainwashed, you know, through the media, you know, social media, entertainment, you know, these, you know, celebrities, you know, entertainers, you know, musicians and shit like that. You know, the Nicki Minaj's, the Cardi B's, the Megan Thee Stallions, the Glorrillas, you know, the Mellow Bucks, you know, all these, you know, masculine ass but want to be feminine ass women at the same time. You know, they want their cake and they eat it too. That ain't how that shit gonna go though. And it ain't how reality works. You know what I'm saying? You know, they talk about, oh, you know, I need, you know, man needs to be this, XYZ so I can be submissive. A man don't have to do a damn thing. A man is born masculine, a woman is born feminine. You know, either you submissive or you choose not to be. You know, as a woman, a real man, a real nigga ain't finna force your ass, you know, to be either or. You know, you either choose or you don't. And if you choose not to be, then you'll see what happens. You know, you don't want to be submissive, well, you'll get the reaction and the results of a woman who chooses not to be submissive. You know, compared to a woman who does. Now, you know, a problem I'm seeing more than ever is the masculinity factor with these women. They want to be so, I don't know, man, try to play the same role as a guy. You know, they want to be tough and all this shit and gangster, and none of that's cool with a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's not your role. That's not your position. You know, plain Jane. You know, and y'all, you know, women want equal rights and all of that shit, you know, which they deserve, you know, fair, equal opportunity for all women. But as far as being an actual woman, you're meant to be feminine. You know what I'm saying? You know, like if you choose to be a stud, you know, or something like that, you know, yeah, that's a sexual orientation choice, but you still have a period every month. You still got ovaries. You still have a vagina. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Your ass is still a woman. I don't give a damn how much you dress and try to act like you like women and shit like that, and if you ain't got the ovaries removed and all the goddamn organs that make your ass a woman removed and replace them with a man's organs, then your ass is gonna die a woman regardless of how your sexual orientation is perceived. You know what I'm saying? These women nowadays are so lost, and then they coming out with all these celebrities, entertainers, musicians, to just put them more deeper down into the abyss of not knowing who the fuck y'all really is as women. You know, and the same thing could go for men that's out here trying to play that role as well. You know what I'm saying? So don't think I'm just coming after these women, you know, on the same shit. They confusing these niggas out here too. Got these niggas out here, you know, and guys out here thinking they, you know, they supposed to look like a woman, dress like one, act like one. Even some going as far as to get the surgery done and remove their phallus, you know, aka their penis, and try to replace it with a vagina, get fake breasts and titties and ass and shit like that. Like I say, that shit is cool But that doesn't decipher and change the fact that if you don't have the organs of a woman, you can't physically give birth, and shit like that to a kid out of your body and shit like that. You don't have ovaries and shit like that, then you're not a woman. I don't give a damn about any kind of surgery. You're a man at the end of the day, who choose to live your life as a woman, or you're a woman who choose to try to live your life as a man, but you're not, and by definition, you are not, so stop going out here saying, a man and you not, and you a woman and you not. Like, if you born what you born as, then that's what you should identify as, regardless of the fact. And I'm cool with Trump enforcing this a little bit more, because if Kamala would have got in office, the confusion would have just got worse. I don't like talking politics because I don't believe in neither side, but the time for confusion is over. We got, the dating world has turned completely upside down. It's not even worth it, for either side of the spectrum, man or woman, with all the confusion and all the delirious and delusions that's out here that women got and some men got in their head. It's just impossible to go out here and date and find a reasonable woman who just down to earth, you know what I'm saying, who know, what she really is, who know what, being on this planet and trying to live as a woman with a man is really about, especially a black man. You got some women on here saying, oh, these fellas still want us, ladies, and these black guys, men still want us and shit like that. But then you look outside of reality. You can say whatever you want to the internet. Look at reality. Is these women approaching you? And as a man, are you approaching some of these women? Because I know I'm damn sure not. I don't give a damn how good you look, and none of that shit. I don't give a damn. You could look good, and then your brain don't be there at all. Your intelligence, is not there at all. Your intellect is not there at all as a woman. So why would I even pursue it? I've got with so many women in my past, and that's where a lot of guys at. They've got with so many women in the past, and they just seen that the woman wasn't truly for them. They didn't want, and sometimes the same, the vice versa for the woman. So, you want somebody that's for you. There's whether you good, whether things going good or things going bad, they stick with you. You know what I'm saying? Or, a woman who don't just, hold everything over a man, and a man don't just hold everything over a woman. It's equal footing. I don't give a damn what any person, celebrity, or motherfucker say. It's equal footing. And so if a man or a woman come on here saying, oh, a man's supposed to just do all this for a woman and that's it, the woman, true enough, a man is supposed to be the provider and the protector. You know what I'm saying? A woman's supposed to be a nurturer, a teacher, a healer. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't play either, your part of those positions, then what is you out here for? You taking up space from the people who really deserve and need to be playing those roles, who know what they self-identify as without a shadow of a doubt, and they not sitting up here causing more confusion, making the dating world and the situation between men and women, primarily black men and women, more toxic than it already is. Like, it's, you look out here and talk to a lot of these men, they not pursuing these women. It's obvious, man. Look around. These women is so toxic, and they so, out of they, I seen a post, and I've studied, and it keeps popping up that 1 in 3 women is insane. I seen another thing talking about a woman who was a lady who was talking about how women like chaos and don't like stability and shit like that because they want excitement. They want all these other, this crazy shit. You want chaos and all this shit, drama and all this shit until it's in front of your ass, you know what I'm saying? And you dealing with this shit until you fighting for your life like R. Kelly because a nigga trying to kill you, maybe kill your kid and unalive both of y'all. So, or unalive somebody that you love. You women want this drama and this chaos until it's literally knocking at your door and in front of you. And you literally facing down a barrel of a gun or worse or some shit like that. So, you need to figure out as a woman, what you really want. Because if you ask for something, you shall receive it. You know what I'm saying? So if you out here acting like you a man, or you so masculine, tough, and you so toxic, and then you want all this drama and all this lame ass shit, when it come knocking at your door, be like, let it be known, like, well, if I get killed or whatever, then that's what it need to be, because a nigga's not gonna play with you. You know what I'm saying? Some guys out here is not here for play. You know what I'm saying? So you could think that drama, chaos, manipulation, all this narcissistic shit, all that's cool until you run into a nigga who ain't got time. And now you and maybe your kids or a family member is facing down the barrel of a gun or some shit like that. Or he do some thinkable things to you or somebody you care about. So keep that in mind as a woman before you out here trying to be toxic and create drama and all this shit like that. The time we in is 2025, and a lot of this shit is gonna get worse, you know. If you know, you know. So creating more toxicity and confusion is only gonna be your downfall, you know, as a woman or a man. You know, time to lock in with life and yourself and really get to know who you are as a person and stand on that as a genuine human being. Because a lot of people is getting unalived. And that's just the bottom line, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because we in a different time. People don't have time. So you could sit out here, you could think, oh, you cute and all this shit like that. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna look good for you. You know, so like I said, this is gonna be a little quick vid. You know, I'm not trying to be, you know, gripe on women and nothing like that. I love women. I love my black women to the end of time, but I don't have time. I don't have the energy. Shit, it's fucked up out here financially as well. So, and emotionally, spiritually, I'm tapped out. You know, I done put my all into some women. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they say you don't want to give up, and of course you don't want to give up, but the percentage that I have left to give a fuck is about 1%. So, you know, I'm not looking and I'm not really pursuing shit. You know, if it comes to me, God willing, then that's what it is. You know, if a decent woman comes to me, and she's on her business, she on her shit, I'm more than willing to accept it. You know, but I'm not out here pursuing and looking for a motherfucker just to be single in the end. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of all the love bombing and shit that motherfucker do, and you still sitting up there and you looking and you by your lonely. You know, maybe a kid came out of it and that's the only blessing that came out of it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you still back to square one. So, you know, Bernie Mac, you know, sure enough, he from Chicago, same place as me, but Bernie Mac said, you know, the money you could get any woman you want or something like that with the money, but go through the struggle, go through the hard time. That's gonna give you the woman you need, you know. And right now, a lot of guys is going through struggle, and some, you know, a lot of women going through struggle, and they just delusional, delirious, you know, like, you know, whatever. But God's gonna force it. You know what I'm saying? You think it's a game, God's gonna force it. You know. And eventually, you're gonna have to look up and be like, damn, I need a decent man in my life. Bottom line, regardless of all the toxic bullshit you do, if you make it to see the next, you know, day on that toxic shit, you know, it's gonna be a day where it sink in like, damn, this toxic shit is getting me nowhere. Because a lot of women is coming to that self-realization right now, and they just sitting up there with you know, probably they vibrators or a dildo, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? And they using that, and you getting so attached to this damn inanimate object that you don't even have social interaction skills with a human being no more. You know, so it's like, you know, they getting attached to a robot or a fucking inanimate object more than they is a real human being. So it's getting real ugly out here for men and women both. And you know, it might just get worse before it gets better. But as in the words of Bernie Mac, the struggle gonna bring you the woman you want. The woman you need, rather. The struggle gonna bring you the woman you need. You know, money could get you the woman you want. So, you know, that's it. That's all, man. Keep going down that road and see which one to get you. Tito 79.